Ain't got nothing better to do, ain't damn good work. Okay, sir, you're on.
Hi, everybody, I had the herbicide Oustar by Bayer Chemical Company. Oustar is a combination, you see the product label, or I pulled this off the product label, Velpar and Oust, and that's where you get your Oustar from. Before we begin, I'll go ahead and say that my personal contact was Logan Scarborough at Point Road Forestry. He had some experience down at the coast spraying this. And I just threw some of his information throughout the presentation. Basically, the main use for Oustar is controlling or suppressing broadleaf weeds and grasses on sites that will be planted with shortleaf, loblolly, longleaf, or slash pine. This is basically a kill-all for all the weeds, just anything you do not want, which I'll go through in the presentation. The application rate is no more than 5 pounds a year. It is in pounds because this comes in a dry granulated form. It usually comes packaged in a bag. You can get it in a bag, or you can get the water soluble bags where you just throw them in the tank when you're agitating it. See anything else? But yeah, you can see the ingredients right here. The hexazinone and sulfometron methyl.
That's good, you're doing good.
Which is the main ingredients. The hexazinone and is the main ingredient for Velpar. And you can see by the percentages that the Oustar is mainly made up of Velpar, with a little bit of Oust thrown in, and you kind of get the best of both worlds with them. And the other ingredients was just fillers, glues, and binding agents to make this granulated mixture. Before we begin on what it treats and stuff, the signal word for this herbicide is danger, which that's saying that it's it is harmful to humans by at least one way of taking it. Yeah. The main way that I could figure after doing some reading and things like that is the dust that is produced from these granules and stuff like that can be breathed in, and that's harmful for you. And when you're actually mixing and applicating it in the wet form or in the liquid form, it can absorb through your skin. The PPEs that are recommended for us is long sleeve shirts and pants, chemical resistant or waterproof gloves, shoes with socks, protective eyewear, and along the same lines with that, the label also calls for helicopter and airplane cockpits to be closed. And on that note too, it is mainly recommended that you use a rotary propelled aircraft to apply this with. The drifting is really bad with this chemical, or with this herbicide, and it will, like I said, it will kill any kind of weed species. And the way it does that is through foliage and the root systems. Whether it's applied by the leaves, if it gets to the ground, it will soak through the soil and get into the root systems. And with doing that, they kind of just meet in the middle and kill the plant from the inside out. With that too, a common practice with this is fertilizer impregnation, and that is actually, I guess you would lay your fertilizer out or in a mixing tank or something like that, and you would need to mix these granules with the liquid before you put it in your fertilizer, and they do recommend a dye, so you can keep track on how much is actually in the fertilizer. During when you spread it, special equipment is needed to spread it. Probably equipment that would not be used for anything else besides spreading this impregnated fertilizer. So that's something else on that. With the drift, this chemical is dangerous around water. It is toxic to aquatic life, plants and fish. And it's with the aquatic plants and things like that, it does the same thing. It'll kill it from the inside out. Let's see here. With mixing, just kind of a step by step. You just fill the tank about halfway full of water. Turn on the agitator or agitate it somehow, and while applying the correct amount. And when you're applying this, it will be in the granulated form, whether it's in the soluble bags or you're just pouring it in there. But being that it is a dry formulation, it will have to be weighed if you are needing a large amount. After that, you just add the remaining amount of water to the tank and continue agitating for about 15 minutes. Is what the label called for. And another note on this is you never want to add a surfactant to Oustar. If you do add a surfactant to Oustar, it will have a higher chance of killing pines. And along the same lines of that, you do need to spray this in the dormant season when the buds on especially longleaf are popped out. It will soak through the buds and kill it's got a low rate of killing the pines, but it just knocks them back a couple of years and decreases the vigor on that. What does Oustar treat? Like I said before, it's basically, I've got a long list of things right here. You can read through them while I'm explaining about this, but basically during release treatments and stuff, all these grasses and weeds and things like that come up with a young pine plantation, it will kill. It will kill a couple of different kinds of hardwoods. Along the lines of the surfactant, it will soak in by itself. So even on these waxy leaf species and stuff like that, it will still soak through. And if it doesn't make it through the leaf and you do have some on the ground, it can move through the soil and up the roots. And it's more of a laterally moving chemical. It doesn't go too far down the ground, but it will spread out. As you can see, some of this stuff right here. I know a common one we have around here is dog fennel and fescue. They get to about that high or so. And the fescue grasses and things like that. And it is used in agriculture. You can use it, like I said, along the lines of the fertilizer impregnation and things like that. But mostly you want to just broadcast applicate this herbicide. It is, you can spot treat areas with this herbicide, but the PPEs go way up when you want to do something like that with the spot treatment. You want to wear a one-piece jumpsuit, boots, and gloves, and eye and respiratory protection. With the broadcast applications by ground, you of course weigh it out to your appropriate needs or whatever, and it'll be 10 to 40 gallons per acre depending on how bad your area is. You will need a buffer at least 50 feet from bodies of water and crops. By crops, I mean forest crops and agriculture crops. Another thing it kept reiterating too in the product label was the wind speeds. It says no ground wind speeds above 10 miles an hour. That also is true for the air too. Like I said, drift is a really big problem with this herbicide, and it is recommended that you use a larger droplet size when you're spraying this. By helicopter, it is. I know I had the aircraft in the last and a couple slides back, but the helicopter is really recommended. And it actually said in the product label too that the downdraft from the helicopter actually helps get the herbicide to the ground faster. And saying that too, it says in the product label that temperature inversions really will hurt your drift with this. Your drift rate, when you spray it and you have a temperature inversion, the herbicide kind of hangs around for a little while, and just small particles, and even the small particle size will even kill your crop species, agriculture and forest related. And like I said, I put in here too, rotary aircraft only. It is really not recommended to do a flyby on an airplane. I have here reiterated the drift management. Of course, to avoid drift, increase the droplet size. The best thing for that, the product label specified using a conical nozzle, and with those conical nozzles, you're able to adjust. That way, if you do have wind fluctuating from 1 to 10 miles an hour, you can kind of adjust for the high and low side for that. Another thing that they recommend is decreasing the spray boom length to lower the drift potential. By doing that, you're not having as much herbicide out there to the sides to be blown around. And I did read an article that said that it is recommended for using the helicopter downdraft as a good tool to actually put it on the ground fast and get it where you need it to. Be mindful around water bodies definitely. It calls for a 75-foot buffer around any kind of water body, rivers, streams, lakes, and it said too because of the marshy areas. And I'll mention that too. Around this area, Oustar is not used a whole lot. Just the stuff that it kills does not grow as fast as it would on the coastal plain of North Carolina. I couldn't tell you about any other states. I mostly researched North Carolina specifically, but around probably Fayetteville and east of Fayetteville is where they use this pretty much on a regular basis. Part of that is the organic material that's present in coastal plain soils, just the weeds and everything like that. The weed trees and herbaceous vegetation just grow a lot faster down there, along with the higher temperatures and humidity. This same 75-foot buffer applies to the crops, and as well. What do you hit backspace? Storage and disposal. Of course, like I said before, it will come in those water-soluble bags, so you wouldn't have to worry about that. Just the box that those come in. A non-refillable container is recommended, whether it be metal or plastic. When you do dispose of that, it does say too to make sure you poke holes in the bag. That way, it can't be reused. Also, if before you poke holes in it and dispose of it, it does recommend the triple rinse process, which is you fill the container about a quarter of the way up with water, get a good shake, rinse, repeat that process about 3 times, and then basically enable the bag useless. With the box that the water soluble bags come in, whether it be paper or plastic, it is recommended to dispose in a sanitary landfill. So you can kind of see by my diagram here, which is just a landfill with a geotextile map, and it just keeps it, like I said, it does move laterally, so it will, so it's unable to move laterally. Again, the movement of Oustar, kind of reiterate here, said it's taken by the foliage and the root systems. This is basically one that you put on a fan spray, and you just spray on whatever you're wanting to kill. Just make sure you cover the leaves, which is, you want it to be wet but not soaking wet. At that point, you're just wasting the chemical. And if it is on the ground, rainfall will be needed to push the herbicide into the ground and be absorbed through the root system. A big thing that the product label said helps out is warm weather and, a young vegetation, so I read an article that said when you're applying Oustar, if you have an old field or something like that you're trying to reestablish, if you run a bush hog through there and kind of cut up the vegetation and get a good, scar the vegetation real good, and then apply it, that's when it works best. During a drought, Oustar is not very effective over a period of time without any rain. The vegetation begins to dry out essentially and harden up. When it does harden up, it's harder for the leaves to take in the chemical or the herbicide. That is the end of my slideshow. Any questions? Please.
You could take instructor's training, son. You had to do instructor's training, you have to hit your 15-minute speed